So this week it's been a week. You probably remember last week that I had talked about my dog. He's pretty sick. He's actually been really sick the last couple of weeks. He's 15. Mm-hmm. We're looking at possibly having to let him go. Well, unfortunately, that did actually occur this week. He passed away on Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. We had to take him to the hospital. He had sepsis. It was a quality of life conversation, so we had to have him put down. And I'd never actually been present for something like that. It was rough. I'm not going to lie. But he went very peacefully. It was just hard to do, I guess.
Yeah.
I miss him, and I'm really sad, and I love him, and I really appreciate everything he's done for our family. There are pets, and then there are pets who transcend being pets, and they just become part of the family, and that's what he was for us. I had mentioned last week, I never really told the story about how we got him on the podcast, right?
No, I don't think so.
Well, if you'll indulge me, and if you'll indulge me, I'd like to share that story in his memory today. So he's 15, he's going to be 16 this year, so this was almost 10 years ago when this occurred. Yeah, this is a while back. We had a few unfortunate miscarriages with trying to get pregnant. My wife and I, weren't able to have children, and we had some kind of mid-term type losses, so it was a little rough. And we were pregnant with twins, and I had just worked my ass off that year to get a down payment for this house that we live in. We were having it built. And things were actually looking really good. We had, I'm not going to go into the details, but we had some surgery and stuff with my wife to make sure that the twins kind of stayed in this time, so to speak.
Right.
And things were looking good. But unfortunately, it happened again, and we lost one of the twins at the beginning of June, right before we were about to move into our house. So I was dealing with the house and getting our stuff and getting things set up, and then also with her being in the hospital. And I took that whole month. I remember I was out that whole month off of work just by her side. She ended up getting an infection, and we had to actually purposefully abort the second kid, because if we didn't, it was her, the kid, basically.
Right.
And it was rough. I got to spend about 3 hours with my daughter. Her name was Hope, and she passed away, and we were very distraught. We spent the better part of that year building up a nursery and just in our hearts and our minds a love for these children that we were going to have, and it was ripped away from us in a very slow and painful and long, drawn-out process. So when we got home, I could see the state my wife was in, and I wanted to cheer her up. And they brought in a therapy dog while she was in the hospital, and that seemed to cheer her up a lot. And I thought it might be not a bad idea to take her to the Humane Society. We could see some puppers there, maybe even get one, which I didn't really tell her about it, but I was thinking it.
Right.
And we went, and we weren't really jiving with any of the dogs. They were too excited, and we they have this little area where you can hang out with the puppies or the younger dogs, and they would just run off. They didn't care about us too much, and it wasn't really working out. And we decided to talk to the employees there, and we told them our story and then our work schedule and what kind of dog we were looking for, that type of thing. And they're and they just immediately named Kincaid. They're like, you want Kincaid for sure.
Dog.
You want this dog. And so we went to his cage to pick him up so we could go and spend some time with him, get to know him. And unlike all the other dogs who were just rah, 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 and they're pounding on the cage me. He had just given up. He was 6 years old at the time, and he was curled up facing away, facing towards the wall. Yeah. And, they called for him, and he obediently got up and walked towards us. And my wife sat outside in a little caged area where you can meet the dog, and he just kind of walked up to her and, pressed his head against her I know. And, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. It was like he was trying to comfort her. Yeah. And they immediately bonded. We adopted him. We took him home. He wasn't a replacement, obviously, for our kids, but he just filled that gap that we had in our hearts and that need to love something. I really think that he was a huge part of our healing process. He saved us, because of what he did for us at that time and what he did for us all these years. I'll never forget him, and I'll be forever indebted to him. So rest in peace to the best dog that I've ever known in my entire life. And I'm happy that he's no longer in pain and he's in a better place. That one's for you, Kincaid.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy.